Disclaimer: my videos are for entertainment and educational purposes only. Fair Use Act disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. No copyright is intended, all rights reserved. Thank you. Hello everyone. If this is your first time coming to the channel, welcome. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. Now, today I wanted to talk about lessons in leadership, and the reason this is a topic for today is because a young lady had asked a question on one of the other nursing sites that I belong to about giving report, and when she is ready to give report, the shift that's coming on is not, they're doing other things as opposed to coming to the report. So I had wanted to talk about this because what I see it is as a lesson that needs to be instructed in regards to leadership. And I gave her some tips on some things that she can do to remedy the situation. One of the first things that you want to make sure that you are doing is following the policy of your facility. So if your facility says that you have to get the report, is the first thing that you have to have, and you have to be on time for work. So that's the first thing you have to make sure that you're following your policy and procedure. And once you know that you're following your policy and procedure, you also have to put everyone on notice that you are going to be following the policy and procedure, because once you have set it in and people have gotten used to doing things a certain way, you have to also give them time to readjust to doing things the right way. So one of the things that I told her that could remedy the situation is to first put everyone on notice. I just wanted to remind everyone that these are just suggestions, but if I was the supervisor or if I was the charged person, this is what I would do. But if I was not the charged person and there was a supervisor, it would be preferable that the supervisor takes charge of the situation. But some of the remedies that I would do are the following. I would ensure that everyone who are in the oncoming shift would be put on notice to know that the report will be given at a specific time, and the expectation is that they be there and not look up the labs first as reported by what this person had said was going on. Now, one thing you don't want to do is create a hostile work environment. So you can also ask your supervisor for overtime because you're not able to give the report on time, and that will alert the supervisor that there is a problem. And then after you've gotten an understanding from your coworkers that you needed to give a report on time, you will proceed to do this. And because you want to make sure the patient care is the most important thing to follow through on. So just remember, at the end of the day, it's always about the patient's safety. And I'm sharing this with you guys because when I was a new nurse way back in the early 90s, this was a problem also on my unit, and my supervisors or my nurse managers' remedy was to join us in report. And she was out there and she made sure that people were coming to work on time. She started redlining the book. So she really took charge. And those are some things that I learned as a new nurse. I had some pretty good supervisors and mentors. And I like to just share that with the new nurses coming out. And sometimes you're in a supervisory position, but you may not be comfortable in it. And it's just the growth that you have to go through. I recommend this book. It's not a nursing book, but it is a book of leadership. And I recommend this book. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And a summary, really good summary, is done by Jack Lyons. Again, this is an excellent book by John Maxwell. And it's again called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And Jack Lyons does a very good summary of each one of the laws. And I'll read them now. It's law number 1 is the law of the lid. Law number 2 is the law of influence. Law number 3 is the law of process. Law number 4 is the law of navigation. Law number 5 is the law of addition. Law number 6 is the law of solid ground. Law number 7 is the law of respect. Law number 8 is the law of intuition. Law number 9 is the law of magnetism. Law number 10 is the law of connection. Law number 11 is the law of the inner circle. Law number 12 is the law of empowerment. Law number 13 is the law of the big picture. Law number 14 is the law of buy-in. Law number 15 is the law of victory. Law number 16 is the law of Big Mo. Law number 17 is the law of priorities. Law number 18 is the law of sacrifice. Law number 19 is the law of timing. Law number 20 is the law of explosive growth. And law number 21 is the law of legacy. Hopefully you will follow the link to this summary by Jack Lyons. He gives a really great summary, and like he said, it will add value to people and help you achieve your dreams. Also, purchase the book. It's a really good book for leadership. Now, John Maxwell does have some other great books, but this was one of the books that I found very interesting. He gives stories and different leadership tools that you can take with you, and you can help yourself and others grow. So I really recommend that you get the book. Even go online, whether you get the physical book or you get the ebook. One of the major things that I did pick up from reading John Maxwell work is that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So make sure that you follow a plan and you stick to it. And it's nothing wrong with writing everything out. In fact, I recommend that you write everything out, what you plan to do, and then you make sure that you stick with it. Now, these are some tips that I learned through my nursing experience and also being a supervisor. You never mix friendship with your job responsibility, because that will come back to bite you in the end. And no friend would actually have you risk your job for their friendship as well. Now, one of the reasons that I say this, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a friend and they're always late, and you're their supervisor and you cover for them, but the other staff, they see you doing this and they don't get away with it, but your friend gets away with it. So you can imagine what that's going to do to the morale on your unit. So you don't want to mix your friendship with your job responsibilities. You want to make sure you keep that separate to keep the morale of the unit up. Also, it's a bad mix because once that person decides, oh, you're showing favoritism, or once that one time that you decide to follow the rules, that's the time that they're gonna pull that card on you, and it's gonna get you in trouble and the company in trouble. So make sure that you do not mix friendships with your job responsibilities. When you are working as a nursing instructor, give the rules out in the beginning and also the times. So, for example, the times that you expect the student to be there, the times that you expect the assignments to be done, and make sure that they understand what the expectations are in the beginning. And that way, you setting it up in the beginning how everything is going to be. I'll give you an example of what can go wrong. And this is a true example. One of the nursing instructors allowed a student to come in late. When the nursing instructor allowed that student to come in late, of course, other students started complaining when they were running a little bit late and they were not allowed to get away with it. So, of course, they'll file a formal complaint. And then the whole entire class is just unorganized and coming in late. And the clinical site started noticing, because we're representing the school, and they started noticing it. So that just left a very bad taste in everyone's mouth. And you don't want to start doing that, because the students do communicate with each other, and it will come back to bite you and look bad on the institution. When you're the charge nurse, you need to be fair on the assignments. It will save you headaches later on. I'll give you an example. When I was a new nurse, the charge nurse was giving me the same admissions every day. And one of the other nurses brought it to my attention. I just thought, I'm a new nurse. I just thought that that was the rules. They were following the rules, and it was helping me to learn how to do the assessments and do the admissions. But I found out it was supposed to be rotating. Having the first admission every day is supposed to be rotating. So you can imagine what that made me feel like, being taken advantage of. So it will decrease the trust that you have, and it could just decrease the morale of the entire unit. So be fair in the assignments. Now, what you need to do is allow some autonomy in scheduling, and this helps with unity on your unit, as well as you will find that your staff appreciates you and also appreciates the trust that you have in them working together. I'll share with you that my supervisor, during the holiday time, everybody usually have a holiday that they want. Some people may want to have Thanksgiving off. Some people want to have Christmas off. Some other people want to have New Year's off. But my supervisor at that time, this is like in the early 90s, she allowed for us to get together. And she told us, she said, if you had Christmas off last year and you wanted this year, then make sure you talk to each other and you switch it up. So she allowed us that autonomy. And every holiday, our floor was usually the only floor that was staffed, because we made sure that we came in because we scheduled it ourselves. And the other units, the supervisor put the hammer down and, no, you're going to have this and that. And I don't know whether favoritism was given for the holidays or not, but we were always staffed. So the lesson learned from that is giving your staff autonomy in scheduling and certain things. They will definitely support you and appreciate you. Our unit was always staffed. Other units were not staffed. And we know we had that autonomy in scheduling, and they were always, every holiday, they were pulling from our floor to staff the other floors. And we would have just been perfect, but the other units were not staffed on those holidays. As a leader, you have to take responsibility. I like what John Maxwell said, that a leader knows a leader, shows a leader, and grows a leader. And that's what you really should be doing in your role of leadership. You should not be afraid that somebody else is going to come behind you and take over. You actually want things to run smoothly, or you should want things to run smoothly if you're not there. If not, you really need to check yourself, because people will respect you, and when you're doing right by people, they will actually have the respect for you. And that's what leadership is all about. So hopefully you will follow the link to the summary, as well as get the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, because it will really help you grow and also help you grow leaders, because that's what you want. And what you want to do is you want to encourage your staff to reach their goals and reward them accordingly. Do not hold them back when a better position comes along. So you want to encourage your staff to go further in their education, in their training, and take the opportunities. If something comes across your desk, or you get the information that there's a training, encourage the staff to go there, because well-educated and a well-trained staff just benefits the patients. It benefits you. It benefits the unit. It benefits the facility. And just encourage people to go further, and it just works out better for them. It's, the growth is very important. Another thing that's very important is you have to take care of yourself. And when you clock out from work, clock out. And that's the time for your family, for your friends, if you have fur babies, and a time for you to relax. So that's what a lot of times nurses will burn out, because they're continuing to work or thinking about work. So you have to find something that you like to do to enjoy, and you decompress, you relax, you leave work at work, because if not, you're not going to be good for yourself. You're not going to be good for the job. You're not going to be good for the family. It's too many nurses are burning out. Too many nurses are stressing out. There's an increase in nurse suicide. So it's very important that you take care of yourself. Exercise regimen, eat right, exercise. That's what we tell our patients, but sometimes we're the last one taking care of ourselves. So you just want to make sure that you are doing your personal health and taking care of yourself. Another thing, the facility is going to go on without you. If something happens to you, the facility will go on. So take care of yourself. Now, this is not putting anybody down that you might be in charge of, or putting them down in a sense of they don't know what they're doing or they can't give advice. But it's just that when you're a leader, you have to lead. Never complain or talk about supervisors to other staff. Be wise by listening with your eyes, ears, and empathy. I hope sharing these few tips that I learned through my career helps. Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. And may you have peace during your leadership tenure. Also, remember to follow the links in the description to the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the summary, and the book. Thank you. Before signing completely off, this tip is one of the most basic tips within nursing, at home, whatever job that you have, whatever position that you have, and it is treat other people the way you want to be treated.